A pleasant greeting to all. Today's presentation is centered on the concept of organizational behavior and tackling its various aspects. And our objective is to provide a comprehensive overview of its entity within the organizational realm. So, what is organizational behavior? So, basically, it's the relationship between a human's behavior within an organization. In organizational behavior, we explore the dynamics of individuals and the organization and workplace that they are part of. This includes how well they communicate, how they make decisions, and how they overall take part in their responsibilities in an organization. In addition to this, organizational behavior also studies every aspect of the organization, such as psychological, social, and structural, to further understand what a workplace needs. Organizational behavior is a field that gives importance in enhancing the understanding of individuals and how they can interact and work together with other people to create an effective and efficient work environment for the organization. So, why is it important that we study organizational behavior? In a workplace, one of the most important behaviors that one must adapt is becoming a team player, whether you are the leader or the manager or whether or not you're the employee. Being part of an organization means being able to have a better understanding of yourself, the way you think, and how you can collaborate with others. It emphasizes the importance of not just understanding yourself, but also the people that you are working with. If one creates a good relationship with his or her workmates, they both become driven to have goals for the betterment of the business. Learning and applying organizational behavior is not just for the betterment of the organization, but also as an individual. We become better employees and better leaders, and these behaviors are not just applicable within the workplace but also in everyday life.
Now, let's proceed to the organizational behavior and the management process. Under of management functions are planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And under of resources used by managers are human, financial, physical, and information. Let's further explain the functions of management. First is planning. Planning is determining an organization's desired future position and the best means of getting there, which means identifying the ideal path for an organization to take in order to reach its intended future position. Second is organizing. Organizing is designing jobs, group of jobs into units and establishing patterns of authority between jobs and units, which simply means creating a pattern of responsibility between jobs and units, designing jobs and organizing jobs into units. Third is leading. Leading is getting the organization members to work together towards the organization's goals, or in other words, leading is coordinating the efforts of the organization members to achieve its objectives. Fourth is controlling. Controlling is monitoring and correcting the action of the organization and its member to keep them directed towards their goals, which means keeping an eye on and making necessary adjustment to the organizations and its members' behavior to keep them focused on their main objectives. Next is the critical managerial skills. First is technical. Technical skills necessary to accomplish specific tasks within the organization, which particularly pointed out that technical skills are crucial in order to achieve a particular task within a company. Second is interpersonal. Interpersonal skills used to communicate with, understand, and motivate individuals and groups, or in other words, the ability to interact, comprehend, and inspire people and organization. Third is conceptual. Conceptual is the ability to think in the abstract or having an ability to understand and think about complex concepts. Fourth is diagnostic. Diagnostic is the ability to understand the cause and effect relationships and to recognize the optimal solution to the problems, or being able to identify the best ways to solve issues and comprehend cause and effect connections. And then this figure 1.2 illustrates the basic managerial functions that managers perform, such as planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, are set to achieve the end goal of effective and efficient attainment of organizational goals. And these functions are applied to financial, informational, and physical and human resources.
Let us now define human resource management. Human resource management, or HRM, is a set of organizational operations aimed at attracting, developing, and retaining an effective staff. Additionally, OB assists HR managers in answering certain questions. Number one, which applicants should be hired? This question allows HR managers to look for candidates who describe their experience with confidence, give credit to their team members, and show that they have leadership style that fits with what they want to see in the company. Number two, which rewards will be more motivating than others? This question helps HR managers to find rewards that reinforce desired behaviors, build loyalty, and foster high levels of employee management. Let us now look at the competitive advantage of OB in its strategic context. There is an organization's advantage over competitors in luring customers and protecting itself from competitors. This competitive advantage has multiple sources, including innovation, distribution, speed, convenience, first to market, cost, service, quality, and branding.
Moving on to the types of business strategies, there are cost leadership, differentiation, specialization, and growth. So for cost leadership, it means striving to be the lowest cost producer for a particular level of product quality. Next is differentiation. It means developing a product or service that has unique characteristics valued by customers. Next is specialization. It means focusing on a narrow market segment or niche and pursuing either a differentiation or cost leadership strategy within that market segment. Last, growth. It means company expansion organically or through acquisitions. Cost leadership strategy emphasizes operational excellence, maximizing the efficiency of the manufacturing or product development process to minimize costs. So, for differentiation strategy, it emphasizes product innovation, developing new products or services. And for specialization strategy, it emphasizes customer loyalty, delivering unique and customizable products or services to meet customers' needs and increase customer loyalty.
Now let us proceed to the history of organizational behavior. The first one is scientific management. Scientific management in the year 1890s, the emergence of scientific management in the late 19th century, represents the pioneering phase in the formal study of organizational behavior. At its core, the primary objective was to revolutionize organizational efficiency and productivity. The main goal of this is to maximize productivity. Scientific management was driven by a singular goal, by the optimization of productivity within organizations. This era marked a departure from traditional, often arbitrary, work methods towards a more systematic and scientifically grounded approach. Scientific management introduced a set of guiding principles that sought to reshape how work was organized and performed. The first bullet is to replace the rule of thumb methods. The methodology advocated discarding rule of thumb work approaches. Instead, it proposed adopting methods derived from systematic scientific studies, particularly emphasizing time and motion studies. This shift aimed to introduce precision and accuracy into task execution. The second bullet is scientifically select, train, and develop all workers rather than leaving them to passively train themselves. The third bullet is managers provide detailed instructions and supervision to workers to ensure that they are following the scientifically developed methods. The last bullet is divide work nearly equally between workers and managers. Managers should apply scientific management principles to planning the work, and workers should actually perform the task. For the next slide,
As scientific management took root and aimed to maximize productivity, it yielded both positive and negative outcomes that significantly influenced the evolution of organizational behavior. Firstly, the advantage of this is that it increases productivity. The systematic approach to work, guided by scientific principles, led to more efficient processes. On the other hand, it also has a disadvantage, which is the monotonous and dehumanizing work. Despite the productivity gains, a glaring downside became apparent. The nature of work became excessively monotonous and dehumanizing. Additionally, abandonment after World War I is also one of its downsides. The extreme monotony and dehumanizing of work led to a growing discontent among employees. Now, for the last slide of our topic is the Human Relations Movement, or the HRM. The Human Relations Movement emerged as a pivotal response to the limitations and shortcomings of scientific management, drawing inspiration from the intriguing findings of the Hawthorne studies. Inspired by Hawthorne effect, HRM found its roots in the Hawthorne studies, specifically the Hawthorne effect, which revealed that people tend to improve aspects of their behavior or performance simply because they are aware of being assessed. This discovery challenged the mechanistic assumptions of scientific management and laid the groundwork for a more nuanced and understanding of human behavior in the workplace. For the next bullet is viewed organizations as cooperative systems. A fundamental shift occurred in how organizations were perceived. The next bullet treated workers' orientations, values, and feelings as important parts of organizational dynamics and performance. Next bullet is created a new era of more humane, employee-centered management and highlighted the importance of people to organizational success. For the last bullet, hampered by unsound research methods. Despite its groundbreaking ideas, the human relations movement faced challenges, particularly in the form of unsound research methods.
So there are four contextual perspectives on organizational behavior: system perspective, situational perspective, contingency, and interactional. There are other three will be discussed later on. We will start first with the systems perspective. If we heard the word system, what comes first to our mind? The process or order how things will be done. The systems perspective, just like what the name implies, this approach believes that the organization is a system that functions as a whole, that they are related to each other. This type of approach helps to see the organization as a whole and their duties that are interrelated to each other. But before we dive into the advantages and disadvantages of this approach, let us take a look first to this framework that shows the system's approach to an organization. The framework shows that the inputs such as material inputs, human inputs, financial inputs, and information inputs are being processed by a technology that transforms it into an output with different feedback from the environment, just like we usually know on how things are done in an organization. For example, the new product has been approved by the marketing team and now they are seeking help with the production team so that the new product can be released to the public. And once the product has been produced, it will be distributed to the retailers of the company. After, one member of the marketing team will conduct a market survey about their new product, taking feedbacks from their environment. That is basically what a system approach is. It simply means the process of how things are meant to be done in an organization. One of the advantages of this kind of approach is that when it comes to troubleshooting, it will be easy to narrow down the problem. Kunyari, may delay sa shipment or sa shipment ng product, and then we can easily narrow down it to the production team or sa shipment. However, as simple as this approach describes an organization, it fails to account some organizational hierarchies or inequalities.
limiting what type of organization that is approach can be applied to. Kunyari, much more technical na at marami ng other sub-department na involved. Then, this system approach cannot be applied to that kind of organization. So, other kind of approach na that will be discussed by the next reporter ang pwedeng magamit ng isang organization.
So now, let's tackle the situational perspective. The situational perspective recognizes that most organizational situations and outcomes are influenced by other variables. In addition, the situational perspective has been documented in the areas of motivation, leadership, and organizational design. However, the universal model presumes a direct cause and effect linkage between the variables, and complexities the human behavior and organizational settings that can make universal conclusion virtually impossible. And now, we are looking at the universal versus situational approach. Managers once believed that they could identify the one best way of solving problems or reacting to situations. Here we are illustrate a more realistic view. The situational approach suggests that approaches to problem and situation are contingent on elements of the situations. Thank you.
Interactionalism, people and situations. Interactionalist perspective focuses on how individuals and situations interact continuously to determine individuals' behavior. Attempts to explain how people select, interpret, and change various situations. For example, as students act in a certain ways toward their teacher because of social expectations.